Hey, Xavier, we talked about it yesterday. I mean, ironically enough, of all the times to, set their introductory press conference for Richard Pitino, it just happened to be at 3 o'clock, the same exact tip-off time that the Bearcats, were tipping off for their crown matchup with DePaul. Richard Pitino, obviously, we talked about it last week. First Nerd came on. Uh, Pitino, the new head coach for Xavier, a little bit of a surprise. I guess it's a big name. Obviously, the name is big more so because of who his dad is. But he has had a lot of success as of late. Not a big go round with Minnesota when he was there, but obviously did a lot of great things with New Mexico, and that's what springboarded him into the Big East at this point. Introductory press conference yesterday. Just your guys' overall takeaways. Richard Pitino officially introduced and named the head coach for the Musketeers.
Said all the right things.
Yeah, I mean, he checked every box. I don't write too much into these press conferences. I do have one clip I was going to share from it, but it's I think that he's going to be a good coach at Xavier. I think every coach that's coached Xavier over the past several years has been solid, has been able to build a winning roster, and I don't expect that to change. With Richard Pitino, I think he, one of my biggest takeaways, it's a basketball program, or a basketball school, excuse me. Every piece of NIL is focused on making that basketball program better, and I think in this clip that I'm about to show you here, I think you kind of get the gist of it. But Casey,
Xavier's been a very good basketball program, but I think there's been some concerns about NIL. Can they compete in this world at a high level for championships? How do you address that? How do you approach that? How can you creatively approach that in this world?
Well, we're at a position of strength. And when I was evaluating this move, I love football, love it. And I don't want it to be all about just one program, but certainly when that House settlement passes, which I assume it will, it's going to change a lot for everybody. And I truly believe that the Big East is going to be in a huge position of strength moving forward. So that's big in itself. The next thing I have to do is first I got to recruit some players, but then I got to get out in the community and meet our stakeholders, explain to them my vision. You can't just say we need money. Like you got to tell them why you want to invest in Xavier basketball. So it's no different than anything else. I mean, we've got so much great support. Show them the return on their investment, make sure we bring in the right people to make them proud, and win. And when you do that, it's just amazing how many more opportunities that you get. So I'm up for the challenge. I've had a lot of success in the NIL portal world, and it's just all about making sure that you endear yourself to the right people and get them to understand that they truly are appreciated, and this is what we're going to do with their support.
I think it's, being a coach now in college sports, it's, you're also being a salesman, and you have to sell your program. You have to sell it to donors. You have to sell it to everybody that who's going to give you a lot of money. And I think Richard Pitino is a guy that could get a lot of money for Xavier. I think his relationship with his father, I think he said yesterday in the press conference that his dad was happy for him to go to Xavier, and he was excited about it. I think all that is good news for Xavier. I think Xavier being in the national spotlight more is going to help. I think all of these things are going to help Xavier still be in the thick of it and still be competitive in the Big East and competitive nationally as well. It's solid. Again, I don't write too much into these things just because they're just going to say exactly what you want to hear.
Yeah.
But it is cool to hear your new head coach. So good luck to Xavier.
I mean, certainly. Probably one of the best hires they could possibly make in terms of national relevance. More people talking about, Richard Pitino than they are about really, anything else.
I haven't heard a thing from Sean Miller.
Yeah, right. And especially Xavier basketball as a whole, certainly putting them more prominent place in the Big East. That St. John Xavier game is going to be must-see TV next year, and they're going to play probably two of them. So yeah, that's going to be great to watch, and I think it's good for the city as a whole for Xavier to become a more prevalent basketball program and be in more big time games. That's certainly fun to watch and fun for all Xavier fans. I would just say I be tentative to see how far in you get.
Yeah.
Because it is a Pitino and that big job will come knocking eventually. And I just don't know how long he'll be at Xavier, but it certainly seems from the first glimpse at him at that time will probably be fruitful.
Yeah, like the Xavier job. I mean, like, especially because Patino's there too. Like, when you go hit the recruiting trail, there's a lot of things that money is the main driving force at this point, obviously. And that, he talked about, that ruling that could come down and how that could impact, football and basketball schools and what that could mean for Xavier. I think any Big East school is going to have a huge opportunity, a huge advantage over a lot of teams who are having to decide between football and basketball. Jake, yesterday after the show, we were talking about Ohio State basketball a little bit. Like they literally, Calipari wanted the Ohio State job, and they didn't bite. And a lot of people I've spoke to said, look, the one reason they didn't want to bite with Calipari as the head basketball coach for Ohio State is because although they are investing heavily into the basketball program, they would not invest into the basketball program at the level that would appease that of a John Calipari, because they're a football school. So that's kind of where we're at right now with Xavier. You're going to go to a Big East school. You're not splitting that, you have all these funds coming in for NIL. You're not having to compete with the football side of the collective, trying to get the dollars that you need to go get a point guard. And I think that that's key. I think to go to a Big East school, to go to Xavier, you are the number one priority there as far as basketball is concerned. And, he could talk about, hey, Xavier is a great job. A Big East school is a great job. But I think Xavier is a great job. Think about that. When you're on the recruiting trail, we talked about it, the money, yes. But, hey, the two matchups with St. John's every year, it's going to be electric atmosphere at Cintas, and then that game's probably going to be played at Madison Square Garden when you got to go play there. You have your rivalry game at Cincinnati every single season. You have obviously UConn, and the matchups, the coaching in that conference. I love the Big East. I think it was a huge get for Xavier, and Xavier is now nationally relevant, as you guys mentioned, and they're right there in the thick of things. They're going to be a part of some of the biggest matchups and rivalries, and they have, of course, the rivalry with Cincinnati. So I think it was a home run hire. Good for them. Cincinnati has their work cut out for them because, again, we can act like, the rivalry, yes, but everything that they do, you got to counter it. You got to still find a way to remain the number one talking point in the city. And right now, unfortunately, that belongs to Xavier if you're a Bearcat fan.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about it. I think it's going to be tough to take that back. And I think that's, certainly a tough pill probably for Bearcat fans to swallow. You finally win, the crosstown shootout, and you're sitting here the offseason after the year, and Xavier is the talking point. And, it was supposed to be your year. It was supposed to be, and you finally get over that hump early, and then just collapse in Big 12 play. And, you're playing in the prestigious crown, so hopefully you get to hold that trophy at the end of the year. But, yeah, for you to finally, be on the up and up, have one of your best rosters, at least in recent memory, it's supposed to be one of your better teams in recent memory, and then the offseason to be Xavier the one making the tournament, and Xavier, the one with the nationally prominent coach. That's certainly not where I think anyone expected us to be at this time last year. So, yeah, I think, this might, ignite a little bit of a new fire under the rivalry, make it a little bit more fun going in the next couple of years, and I'm all for that. As a guy without a dog in the fight, I just want the crosstown shootout to be as much hate as possible from both sides, because that makes it fun for us to, watch from the sidelines.
Jacob loves hate. He loves spreading hate.
I do.
Very nice.
Bearcats will have the best chance to win at Cintas next year, maybe ever. So hopefully we can get that done.